Hello angels, and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Celia. I am a 6-2 projector. I'm an earth angel. I am here to be part of creating heaven on earth, and I am here to share a really powerful message today. I felt, unknown for the last decade or so, but I really have not honestly had the courage to share this publicly, and it's only thanks to other people I've seen online who are starting to share these things that I'm like, you know what, this mission is too important, it's too powerful, we're going to share it. Only the people closest to me and in my deepest mentorship will get glimpses and insights into this, but I want to share it with you guys, a little part of it, so that you can start to, reflect upon the world that we're stepping into and the world that we're creating. Huge changes happen on a collective scale, and it all starts on the energy astral. If you are completely new to all these things, you might want to watch some of my prior videos where I talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the next few years, the transformations we have ahead of us, and the choices we have as individuals. There's been one of the biggest misconceptions and slaveries of humans have also been the one that's probably the most taboo and the most challenging to talk to people about, and that is death. And I have known now for a while that death is not natural, and it's not actually meant to happen the way that it happens. So let me reframe that, because yes, actually death is natural. I mean, we see death happen all the time, and we have also death happening within us all the time. When it's winter, it's a death of nature and there's a rebirth happening. But the way that we experience death in society is not natural. That is a way that it is the whole kind of energy system has been hijacked and looped in a way that keeps souls stuck in patterns and stuck in repeating the same karmic patterns over and over, in order so these beings can loop the soul energy and use it as fuel. Because we have had on the planet certain beings that have actually created immortality for themselves through looping the energy of the soul energy of humans. So they kind of like have become parasites on the human energy, if you want to see it as this. And so they created this whole system where the souls would like stay looped inside of this karmic pattern of keep being born again and again and again on the planet, because they thought, there was more karma to solve or whatever, but instead of solving the karma, they actually just make it deeper and worse every single time. And I will share with you what I feel and believe to be the truth that we can tap into, and you can take what resonates. So I actually do think that eternal life in the physical body is the most natural state and the society that we're moving towards. We've already seen in the Bible, explanations of people that were 800, 900, 1,000 years or more. And I do believe that this is a potential reality for us as humans. We do need to create genetic changes, and that doesn't have to happen in the laboratory, but we can do that through actually energy work. And this is part of what I'm working with inside of my programs. We do have to create these energetic changes, and we do have to break through the ancestral curse of the karmic cycles and rebirth, because it's such a strong belief that, at age 70, 80, 90, I'm going to die, right? But that's only a belief, and it's reinforced by the ancestors, yes, but we can break out of it and we can change it, and we have actually the planet and the sun on board more than ever for this, and it's time to do so. I'm actually using this Lion's Gate exactly for this kind of manifestation, both for me and collectively. And the whole point being that we as souls are here to evolve. And when you keep dying and being reborn and forgetting everything, you're not actually evolving much. You're just like a hamster in a wheel, literally stuck in a cycle. But if you get to live 900, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, how many years do you want to live? You can evolve like as much as you want. You can learn all of the things you want. You can keep evolving as a soul. And just because you create physical immortality in your body doesn't mean that death doesn't exist. Actually, I believe that in order to create physical immortality in the body, we have to master death. And we have to invite it into our lives. And the way we do that is just like the seasons, that we allow for death in the areas of our life where there's a part of us that has to die, there's a belief system that has to die, there's an old identity that has to die. We allow for that to happen, and then we resurrect and we get born again as a new version. And I actually believe that one of the reasons why most people have died very early is because they don't master this cycle of death and rebirth, and they reject having parts of them dying, and they try and hold on to this version of themselves, which creates stagnation, which eventually creates entropy and death, right? But the death I'm talking about is the death that comes right before a rebirth, a crucifixion, if you so want to say. And I think we all experience this more or less on a yearly basis with the parts of our lives that need to go in order for the new parts of our life to resurrect and come forth. And once we master and don't reject it, we are actually able to continuously create rebirth in our energy system. And then of course there are also the aspects of how we treat our physical body. Like if we fill it with foods that are dead, we are obviously creating more death. However, if we fill it with foods that are living and live, like the raw foods, we're feeding more life in our system. And then also in our luminous energy field, just clearing like imprints of death and entropy. I do believe that once we work with all of these levels, along with activating the DNA, you actually do have the potential to live much longer. And I believe as long as you decide to, you are meant to be a master of death, and you're meant to be able to choose, okay, I want to be here however many years you want to be here, and then move on to your next adventure with full consciousness when you're ready for it. So no forgetting like we've had on this planet. So also this whole part of reincarnation, I believe is hijacked, and I believe it's not actually the natural cycles. It's just a cycle that was created for these beings to feed off the human energy and to continuously have an energy source. So it was very, very, intelligent to make it like this. But however, thanks to the solar activity and thanks to the earth actually having become immortalized, we are now as humans also having the opportunity to choose immortal life and to choose not to feed these entities anymore. And I do believe that when we choose not to feed these entities anymore, we are actually naturally choosing immortality, because that is your natural state. And when you reclaim all of that energy back to you and back to your own life, that's inevitably what's going to happen. One of the most common questions I get whenever I've shared this with someone is like, but why would you want to live forever? Why would you want to live so long? Life is not fun. Life is not this, life is not that. And I would just say, this is also just the signs of where you're trapped into these cycles of feeding these beings, because they feed off of negative energy, of your negative emotions. Life is meant to be joyous and fun and full of bliss and incredible, and of course also moments of growth and some hardship, but all of it to catapult us into our higher version and our more expanded version. So when you come to the point that you're able to create physical immortality, it will be a state of complete bliss and joy. You wouldn't be stuck in suffering for thousands of years. Actually, being in the reincarnation cycle is what keeps you stuck in suffering for thousands of years, because you keep being reborn into the same patterns over and over and over. But when you get that liberty and sovereignty back in your system, you are not a slave to these negative emotions. So you would live a joyous life. You would want to live forever, trust me. And that's exactly how I feel, because there's so many things I want to achieve. There's so many things I want to do on this planet. There's so many dance styles I want to learn. There's so many languages I want to learn. I have to live forever because I need a lot of time to learn all of these things. And I want to, because I love the planet, I love life, and I see a beautiful world that is heading a beautiful direction, and I want to be part of creating it and being the example of what's possible to others. So, I'm not going to go so much deeper into this here. If you like this topic, let me know. But I hope this is already starting to shatter and reconstruct a little bit, perhaps, the limiting beliefs you have about life and death. I see this being one of the strongest beliefs in everyone. And trust me, I've gone through a few of them. Being vegan, one strong belief is about diet and what we can eat. Also being very spiritual, like stronger beliefs about what's possible, what's not possible, energy and all of these things. So I wanted to share this with you guys to help you understand what direction we're working towards. And I do believe that in some decades we're going to see physical immortality be widely accepted on a global scale. It may not be that everyone has mastered it yet, but I do believe it will be much more commonly accepted, and perhaps, also most of us mastered it. Let's see. I'm definitely here to play my role. So if you're curious to know more about the subject, definitely, subscribe to the channel, join in here. I also share on my Instagram more about this. And I do work as a coach, and this kind of work, however, is more in my more advanced containers. But if you're curious to work more, to know more, reach out to me. Let's chat. Send me a DM on Instagram. I do also have one-on-one containers where we could work more on this specific subject. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. In the name of heaven and earth, let's create this beautiful earth together. I hope you have a most beautiful day, and I will see you so soon.